Now, I'd like to introduce you to our two guest speakers. So we have Rachel Rowan. She's a marketing manager, events partners, and outbound. She's got 7 years of experience in developing and directing various marketing, sales, and event operations, and vast experience in teaching how to resonate with your audience within the roofing industry. Love the word vast. Rachel, welcome.
Thanks.
And then, sorry, go ahead.
I said you could tell I'm a marketer.
Right, absolutely. And we got Monroe Mckay, Senior Director Business Development, 10 years experience in leveraging business relationships to maximize sales. Love that. And a decade of building relationships with key opinion leaders and consultants and influencers. Welcome, Monroe.
I'm like you, Tom. Thank you. I'm actually a little older than that, so that's more like 15 years of experience. I think I forgot to update this, but yeah, hopefully I'm older than I look, or maybe I look older than I am. Not sure which one, but it's all good.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks for coming. Yeah, I'm hiding behind the camera, the computer, I guess you'd say, so can't see my age. But I counted it back when I had a little toy hammer in my hand, and I counted that as some roofing experience. So we're gonna run with that. Rachel, I'd love for you to give us a brief overview of Job Nimbus.
Yeah, absolutely. So if any of you guys don't know Randy Brothers is fantastic. He owns a company out in Colorado called Elite Roofing. Randy also is a coach in our industry, and he is a Job Nimbus user. And so he was able to see that Job Nimbus increased their revenue by 300%. And funny enough, he's not the only one that we hear that from. So Job Nimbus, we are a fully functional back office solution for your company. So really the goal for us is to take your lead to production to completion all within a very easy, seamless, straight line. We integrate with some of the top industry companies and technologies, from EagleView to Leap to, we're partners with Owens Corning, and the list goes on and on and on. But our slogan and our number one thing is really just to help you grow, right? Like that's it. And especially since we have a lot of guys who are in that 1 to 5 range, I know we're probably thinking, how can I get control of my company? How can I grow my business? Job Nimbus is the way to do. So we did actually an entire poll with our customers, and we found that we are, with our customers, they say we make them more successful, efficient, professional, organized, and profitable. And those were all words that they used. So now it's the slogan that we live by.
Awesome, that's great. Appreciate that. So we're going to dive in now to the content that you all are here for. So I'm excited to do this, excited to leverage Monroe and Rachel's knowledge and skill set and experience. So I'd love to open this up by just setting the stage. What are some of the contractor trends for 2021? And talk about why the adoption and use of technology is important. So Monroe, if I could toss this one to you.
You bet. So I think everyone on this call, and really anyone in any industry, can point to 2020 and 2021 so far and say we're in a little bit of a different environment these days, right? So contractors, just like everyone else, are experiencing the COVID situation and how certain face-to-face interaction can be limited. And so really what we're finding is that everyone's having to get a little bit creative, right? So where are we today? We're on a Zoom webinar. I guess this is not Zoom, go to meeting. So but these remote type engagements, this is what we've had to do, right? Same thing goes for the contracting space, roofers, everybody else. Like, it's harder to interact with your customer in the same way that we have in the past. So finding ways to kind of streamline the operation, the communication, kind of figuring out some touchless situations, or at least some opportunities for us to interact, even if we can't be directly in contact the way that we used to be. Those are things that I think everybody's having to take a look at. And so things like Leap, for example, where you can digitize all of your documents, all of the the payment, the proposal, all that different stuff can be digitized now. It's so much easier and more simple and streamlined for a customer to have that kind of an experience than it is to go with the old school means of, paper and all that different stuff. So it's somewhat, 2020 and 2021 really accelerated this movement towards kind of being digital. But the truth is, it's always kind of been moving that direction, right? So I've been in a couple different industries. Early on in my career, I worked with doctors. And doctors had to figure out how did they digitize the communication, how did they kind of streamline their, interaction with their patients. So it's been coming, but we're seeing this now. It's so much more important to have this kind of interaction, and that's really where a system like JobNimbus comes in as well, because we are a digital solution for you to actually put all of your contact information, your customer information, communicate directly, internally, externally, all those different things right inside of a digital solution. And even having the ability to do that on a mobile app, so you can do it on site, it just really makes things a whole lot easier. So, I mean, those are kind of the trends, and I think probably most people on this call can attest to that. They're having the same kind of situations where they're having to figure out, how do we approach things a little bit differently? And really what ultimately has to come about is just creating systems and adopting systems that make that easier for you and for your customer.
Yeah, great. Rachel, are there any trends that you've seen or that you're hearing about relative to coming into 2021, now coming out of the pandemic, or maybe hopefully I'm going to say this really carefully, hopefully the back end of it, right? Yeah, fingers crossed is right. What are you hearing from the people that you talk to?
A lot of people are just revving to go. I think we're all just kind of tired of all of this. The one thing that I've seen a lot though is despite the fact that last year was hard, a lot of contractors did not experience a huge amount of non-growth, right? Or depleting in revenue. A lot of them were either staying the same or they were still growing, right? That's like the one nice thing about, COVID. Hey, it doesn't stop the storms, right? Like we still had storms last year. We still needed new roofs. We still needed new fences. And if anything, all of those home improvements started to go up because you had a whole bunch of people stuck at home, and then the bathroom was bugging them, or I need to redo my deck, or I noticed shingles were missing, right? So a lot of people, I think, are just revving for 2021. They're like, listen, we didn't have too bad of an experience in 2020. It didn't affect us in our business as much as we thought it would, but now in 2021, like, the sky's the limit. I've had time to learn how to control my business. I've maybe found the right people, or maybe I'm still looking for the right people. But really 2021, it's like, we're going to kick ass and take names, right? And everybody's like revving, waiting for the snow and everything to melt and be back on the road, knocking doors and getting things going.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool. So I want to talk about the customer journey and where technology fits in along that road. And if I think high level about customer journey, it's somebody recognizes they need to have a new roof, or they want new windows, or whatever it may be, and so they call into contractor. Contractor takes down that homeowner's information. They enter it into JobNimbus. And then from there, it gets assigned to a sales rep. Sales rep goes out, runs the appointment, hopefully closes it and wins it, right? Hopefully it's a closed won appointment. And then from there, it's going to move on to sort of the production calendar, finally get installed. And then the job's completed, and now you're asking for referrals and those type of things. So if we kind of incorporate that or think of that as the customer journey, I'd love for you guys to talk a little bit about where technology falls along those roads. And obviously, JobNimbus is great, and I don't want to steal your thunder, but JobNimbus is great in helping contractors facilitate that flow of the customer through that pipeline. And in the same regard, Sleep is great when the sales rep's going out there to run that appointment and to facilitate that sale. But talk to us more about the different layers of technology and how technology helps create efficiencies from a business standpoint, and its ability to pass those on to the customer.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick. So like you said, Tom, I think technology really is applicable throughout that entire journey, right? Like you said, so, we're out knocking doors, we make a contact, that contact can go directly into my CRM system to where now I have a record and I can actually take notes and, follow that through the entire process. So not only can I do that, but inside of JobNimbus, I can keep track of an entire board of like who's in my contact pipeline, who's progressing to, we now have a proposal, who's actually closed, who's moved on to project, status, and where is that? How do we efficiently order products, which can also be done through the system. And then all the way through to, like you said, the very end, which is, customer pays and hopefully they're super happy about it. And now they can go share that experience with other people. So really technology, I think, applies to that entire, pipeline. And actually, one of the things that I think we really pride ourselves on at JobNimbus is having integrations with really good systems that are out there, right? So it's not just us. It's like you're ordering, a roof measurement, so you can pop into Eagle View, or you need documentation to be digitized, so you pull your LEAP information together. You need to order something that can go directly to Beacon or price lists or any of those kind of things, digital signatures, payments, all that different stuff, right? So that all can be kind of coming from a central hub, making it really easy to utilize those systems. But those can still be systems that you use even, or have been using separately. It's just all kind of incorporated into one spot. So that's the idea, is really making this efficient and easy for you, for your reps, for your customer. And like Rachel hit on, that leads to being able to scale and grow, right? Which is most people's goal, I would say. 99% of people on the call, you probably want to continue to grow and get bigger and, make more revenue. So really that's what this is all about. Technology is there to just make it simpler, easier, a better experience overall. So yeah, that's kind of the feeling, is it's throughout the entire experience.
Absolutely. Rachel, did you want to add anything? If not, we can carry on to the next.
Nope, we're good.
Awesome, cool. I'll just add there too, you mentioned integrations and efficiency, and as we're looking to help the customer, there's also the idea here that, using a sales solution, using CRM, using JobNimbus, using Leap, these type of things decrease the time that you're in home because of the efficiencies gained by the technology and the ability to seamlessly move from one stage or phase of the process to the next. It also, there's this hot topic, I guess I'll call it, about talking about this dark period from where that job is sold to when it's actually installed. And so there's that period that could be, it could be weeks, it could be months. I spoke to some contractors at the end of last year, in November, and they're telling me, they're booked all the way up through the summer of this year. So that's a really long period of time. There's probably some underlying things there. They're probably selling at too low of a price. You should probably bump your price if you're booked up 6-7 months.
Right.
But needless to say, if you're booked up 6 months, you need to keep the customer in the know of what's going on with their project, and whether that's just a touch point here or there, or whether that's automated messaging. There's great partners like Hatch, Marlamar, some of these other ones that can do some good business communications platforms that can help automate that process. But it's important to keep the customer in the loop throughout that phase.
Tom, I would agree with that. I would just say, like you hit on, it's pretty hard for, especially somebody who's that busy, to just constantly be picking up the phone and calling like, hey, this is where we're at, all that kind of stuff. If you can set up some automations, automated communication, that's huge. So if you can do that to your customer, you can also do that to your team, making sure everyone's still in the loop and knows exactly where things are. One of the big dangers, I think, for a company is when things fall through the cracks. That's going to be a major problem, right? That's going to kill your revenue. That's going to leave a bad experience with, that potential customer, who then might go out and share that experience with other people and hurt future business. So if you can automate that and have a system that you can trust to really kind of keep that communication going and keep it fresh, that's going to create a huge amount of efficiency for you, and really kind of make sure that your company has that professional approach and professional image to the customer. So yeah, super important point. Thanks for bringing that up.
Absolutely. Rachel, we've got this slide here about presenting a professional experience and talking about branding, and certainly that's important, but love for you to expand a little bit about, why is that not the only thing that's important?
Yeah, absolutely. So branding obviously is extremely important, right? Marketer, I obviously it's important in my mind. But why is brand important? Well, brand is not just the logo that they see when they look up your company. Brand is the culture that your employees experience, and it is also the culture that your customers experience, right? So if you can create a culture within your company that is a positive, maybe very driven culture, right? All of these values that you see as an owner of a company that you want to present, that in of itself then presents itself in your sales staff, because you're going to hire those people who value those same things within your brand and within your company, right? You're going to strive to hire those people. And then therefore that you're presenting a very professional experience with your homeowners because it has been established right at the beginning of the company, right at the core. If you as an owner do not live your brand, do not live your culture, do not expect your employees to do that as well, right? You have to be that core person, and then that just exudes out to the others. Now, what could be that brand, or what could influence that? A digital experience, right? Technology is so important. We use it every single day, right? We are literally on our cell phones all the time. There is no reason why the roofing or contracting industry cannot be the same exact way. It's going to continue to push forward. So when we are thinking about experience as a culture, what's one thing that's going to piss off your office staff the most? When you go and say, hey, where's that bid I gave you? And then she's going, I don't know what you're talking about, right? Oh, well, it was supposed to be, sent out, and we were supposed to get that money. Oh, well, you never sent it to me. Guess what? All of that can be eliminated with a digital experience or technology with inside of your company. Again, though, it all comes back to the brand. What are the values that you want to establish? What are the things that you want people to know you as, right? The people out, your customers, your culture, or excuse me, your community, your distributors, your GAF or OC reps, or whoever you're wanting, you work with. How do you want them to know you? And what kind of reputation do you want? And then work back. And the majority, if not all of the time, it's going to start with, again, owner, and then also a technology that makes all of that seamless in a professional manner.
Yeah, I was reminded when I was back when I was selling roofing, actually when I first got started, and they were talking about that you're not really you're selling value, but what you're really selling is perceived value, and it's how the customer perceives your business to you, what you're going to do that can really differentiate you from your competition, and all of these things help add to that perceived value that your customers are seeing. Appreciate that,
Absolutely.
Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, another thing that I've seen on that is, some of our owners, the number one things they say is, hey, I need to get control of my business. My business is running away from me and I need to control it. And what I've seen is the moment that they implement a back office solution or technology to help them control their business, it allows them then to focus so much more on culture and so much more on the customer experience, right? And some of the most successful companies that I've seen and I've worked with in my years in roofing are those ones who have done that, and then they're out there as a company doing community service. They're out there as a company, the owners driving around, maybe dropping off some donuts at some of the customers' houses and creating those experiences. But it all starts with, how do you control your business? And, the number one way to do that is with technology.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd love to hear too from the folks that are in attendance, what you're doing to present that professional experience, what you're maybe doing to differentiate yourselves,
Yeah.
and as well as what trends are you seeing in 2021. Love for you to type those in there, and we can certainly comment on those as we go along. Um, I want to move on here to our next slide while folks are typing that stuff in, and talk a little bit more about some of the pitfalls of not using a tech stack that ties from lead to production. So maybe Monroe, I'll toss this one to you. What are some of those efficiencies that are passed on to customers by using tech?
Yep. So I think, like you said, when something's not tied together, it creates a kind of hitch in the whole process, right? So you may be using 3 or 4 different systems, and if they don't communicate with each other, in a lot of cases, that's not going to help you really create efficiency or time savings, right? Because it's like, oh, I got my information over here. I now have to go enter it over here, and then I got to, repeat the process 2 or 3 times. So technology is super important, but it's also really important to make sure that that technology works, together with the other systems that you're using. And that's why I think that the integration side of things is so important to us. We know that we're not everything to everybody, right? We have a pretty important function because a lot of the customer information is in our system and we can do a lot of the tracking. But it's super important to know that, okay, well, so I could go in and I can, see that data pushed to and from the different systems that I have, right, or that information. So yeah, technology is important and it's super helpful, but only in as much as it really does create, a kind of seamless, easy process for you. So as you're looking at technology, it's important to understand, okay, in my process, how's this all going to tie together, right? Like, so if I'm going to go, from the sales process, we're going to go knock doors, we're going to put information in our system. And then understanding, when we get to that point where we're presenting, having a system that can, like Leap again, have the digital documentation and signatures and all that kind of stuff that can talk to my CRM and put that information, back into the CRM. So again, I've had this experience at other companies that I've worked at, and it's like, we have all these systems which are great by themselves, but if they don't work together, it's almost like it creates more work for me, right? So I think when you're looking at systems, that's an important thing to ask is like, okay, well, does this work with other systems that I have in place? And how am I really going to make sure that this is a smooth process for myself, for my team, and, ultimately for the customer? Because like you were talking about a minute ago, how we present ourselves to our customer, our reputation really is our brand. And that's, nothing's more powerful than word of mouth advertising, right? When we have somebody that goes out and says, hey, I worked with this company, they're awesome, it was so, super easy and smooth and all that kind of stuff. That's more powerful than any kind of, other advertising that you could have out there. So when you can project that kind of an image to your customer and they have that type of an experience, that's going to be huge for you. I always try to use the rule of thumb. How would I like the experience to go? If I'm a customer on the other side, how would I want it to go? How, or what are the things that would be frustrating to me or annoying to me? If you can kind of cure those, through using technology and really kind of streamlining the process, so much the better, right? You're going to really differentiate yourself from your competition because, not everyone's doing that, right? And if you are one of those companies that can create that type of an experience, you're head and shoulders above the others, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I like this to share this short story. Like when I was at one point in my career when I was doing sales, we found out that we were writing the customer's name down 27 times from the time the lead came in until, we finally took that file and put it down in a filing cabinet in the basement, right? But that's how antiquated our systems were. And this wasn't that long ago. This was, 7-8 years ago, the company that I was working for. And those type of things are so inefficient and prone for error. Guy wrote in and wrote financing options, and I don't know if he is speaking about the ways that they present a professional experience or the way that they differentiate. But judging by the size of business on this call, we're talking 90% are under 10 users, and so it's likely that a lot of people that are on here don't offer financing. I think I heard recently it was like under 7% of the roofing industry offers financing. Now, if you're in Windows or HVAC or one of those trades, it's likely higher. It's 50 to 70%. But there's this reluctancy to offer financing to customers because it can appear scary or it can appear like it's the unknown. There's a lot of things out there that can help you with that. And Leap is certainly one of them. And just giving you the ability to factor in, what those dealer fees are and give you the ability to offer plans that you want your sales team to offer, that you feel comfortable with, and make that credit application process super easy. Contractors that do utilize Leap, that information is carried over from Job Nimbus customer information. And when they're running that appointment, they don't have to re-enter that stuff in when they're submitting a credit app. It's automatically filled in. They may just grab, monthly income or another type of, finance related field, fill it out in the application, click submit, and get back instantly at pending, denied, or approved application, and can continue on with the sale. So technology can make those type of things that can seem scary really easy and really simple for your team to begin implementing, and to help differentiate yourself from others in your marketplace. So there's a lot that technology can do, not just from your existing workflow, but also things that you may be looking to add to your workflow, or that could be a benefit that you have stayed away from because of the unfamiliarity or the complexity. Technology has a way of really breaking down those things into a much easier to manage task.
Tom, I just wanted to kind of reiterate, so the financing situation, like you talked about, it was crazy to me when I first stepped into roofing and contracting, that there weren't a lot of people offering financing. When you look at, I can finance, dentistry, I can finance a surgery, I can finance like basically anything I want to do right now. And especially where the price point in roofing is, pretty high, not a ton of people can just come up with that kind of cash straight out of their pocket, right? So the truth of the matter is, there's probably a lot more work out there that you could be, locking up if you do have those financing options. And like you said, I think maybe the barrier is just that's kind of a scary situation. Not sure how to, use that when I'm talking to my customers. But if it's built into the systems that you're using and becomes just kind of part of the presentation, I think most contractors find that that's a great option for them, right? It's like you're closing more business, you're ultimately generating more revenue, and it's just overall, it's kind of a win-win for you and for your customer.
Yeah, number one thing, guys, how often do you have to fight or track down a customer for payment, right? I, again, been in the industry for a while, and I'm sure, Tom, you've had terror stories of this, like, oh, well, we'll send it to you. Oh, well, meet me at my house at 6 for the check. Guess what? Financing, you don't have to deal with any of that. The company automatically just sends you the money, and then the payments is between the homeowner and that company. The other thing too that's huge, and let's be honest, if you are in a storm market, adjusters and insurance companies do not normally cover the full amount of the extent of the damage, right? They are normally leaving out underlayment. They might leave, not include starter shingles. Right, that they may say, oh, you could totally just reuse that ridge cap, and we all know that you probably shouldn't be reusing the ridge cap, right, for the quality of the roof. Financing will allow you to give that homeowner the full amount. I mean, if you don't want to fight the adjuster, okay, we all know how sucky that happens, or how sucky that is. But financing will allow you to give that full experience to that homeowner, and again, present yourself in a professional manner to be able to give them everything that they need. Now, Tom, do you mind if I talk a little bit about how tech can help the supply chain issue on this?
Please.
Just really quickly, okay? One of our biggest things within the roofing industry, supply chain issues, right? Some of them may be the orders not getting correctly into Beacon or APC. Let's say maybe the address is wrong, right? I've heard that a ton of times, that the shingle showed up at the wrong address because the address was wrong. If you incorporate technology into your supply chain issues that you're having, or your supply chain, it can eliminate a lot of those issues. Because let's think about it. If you're using a system like JobNimbus or Leap that already has the address in there, that already has the customer information in there, and then on top of that, you do your supply order and you just pop that straight over, the address isn't messed up, the owner isn't messed up, your measurements are spot on because you're using all these different solutions in one, right? So you should be eliminating a lot of those issues with using technology. And I'm sure you guys can think of a ton more that you see every single day. Those are just some of the top, right? Again, just like Monroe said, though, you have to have everything talk to each other. It makes it so much easier and seamless, but it could eliminate a lot of those problems that you might be having with your ABC, SRS, beacon locations just from having everything talk to each other and being able to send that automatically.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are really good points. I want to talk about, or on this next slide here, we're going to talk about some of the hidden benefits of tech. So, Rachel, I'll leave it with you for
Yeah.
this beginning up here, but I want to talk more about what are some of those hidden benefits of technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things that a lot of people don't think about is finding the right talent and maintaining or keeping the right talent on your staff. Okay, so just for example, I know of someone who works in the construction space. They are still on pen and paper with their invoicing, and he is beyond frustrated. He's one of their top sales guys, beyond frustrated because he's like, I cannot get anything done. And why is it? Well, it's because the upper management has not implemented, productive and efficiencies within the company, i.e., technology, to help this flow and this process go faster. And he's actually looking for another job right now because he's like, I need support in a way of technology to help my process. So that's one of the biggest hidden things that I can see of really implementing that technology is you're going to bring in the best staff, right? Because one, your culture and your brand is going to speak right to the best staff. And then on top of that, you're going to give them the tools to be successful. The number one frustration of employees is that they don't have the tools to be successful, right? So that's one of the things that tech can really provide you is that landscape to be successful.
Yep. Can I add something in there, Tom?
Yeah, please go ahead. Yep.
So I was just going to say, in the conversations I've had with a lot of contractors, a lot of roofers, one of the difficulties is like, man, it's all on you, right? Like if you're the owner, there's such a huge amount of stress that goes with that because you got to keep track of every little detail. You got to make sure everything's happening. And granted, you got a team and you got people that can help you out, but I think a lot of people feel like that's ultimately their responsibility, which it is, for any owner. So one of the big things when I talk to people that are using a CRM or Job Nimbus is that it really has reduced that stress level for them, right? Like they can actually relax just a little bit knowing that there's a lot more efficient way of doing things. And now I can kind of keep track of what's going on in a pretty simple way, right? It's going from, I've talked to a lot of people that it's like, paper folders and it's on a wall and everybody's got to remember to put them in the right spot and color code and all that stuff. Going to a system where it's like, okay, everybody's notified immediately when something happens and everyone's kind of in the queue and all that kind of stuff. So eliminating stress, creating a little bit of freedom for the owners and other people on the team to really kind of, not have that constant feeling of like, oh man, if I take my eye off the ball for a second, things are going to fall apart. So that's just something I've heard a lot of feedback about is that there's a lot of stress elimination and there's a lot more kind of freedom in understanding that, okay, we have a system, we got a flow, things are working correctly, and now I can kind of take a breath and, pull back maybe just a little bit, not have to be in every little detail every single day. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Want to talk a little bit about reputation management and the role that technology can play in that. And there's, I think everybody knows that it's a good idea to get a referral and to have your customers leave reviews. But what role does technology play in that space, Rachel?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you have companies out there like Broadly, like Podium, right? That their whole thing is specifically about reputation management, where they're pushing your people to refer, put in leads and things like that. However, what's the number one thing you do when you're looking for a company? You Google it, right? Number one thing. And so that, guess what, is free. That is free advertising for you. So if you can figure out a way within your company to say, hey, we'll bring coffee to you if you fill out your Google review, right? Or something like that, then that's something that can help you build those organically without having to implement an outside technology. That technology is there for you. It is if you need it, but these are small little things that you can be doing just on your own without putting in that large amount of money up front into a software. Now, again, where does that come back to though? It comes back to having a raving fan. And the only way you're going to create a raving fan is if that process is seamless, if everything is going smooth, if you're creating that professional experience, right? And let's think about it. Number one age group that is buying homes now, the millennials, right? And they deal with things so different than what the baby boomers did and all of that. What if they have a good experience or a bad experience? What's the first place they go? The internet, right? They're always online saying, yes, I like something, no, I don't. So if you create that experience for them, digital, nice, engaging, whatever it might be, they are more prone then to talk online about it. Again, free advertising for you.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Monroe, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I know we talked about it earlier in the session, but nothing's more powerful than a word of mouth testimonial, right? A really happy customer that goes out and tells 3, 5, 10 other people. There's nothing better than that, right? Well, Google reviews are basically that, except for it can reach a much larger audience now, right? Instead of me just telling my neighbor and my family, like Rachel said, anytime somebody goes out and Google's, roofing in your area, or even when they meet you and they're like, I want to understand what this company is all about, they'll still go out to Google and say, okay, what are the reviews for this company? So when you've got somebody that will go out and rave about your company, there's no bigger, bang for your buck as far as marketing goes than that. So yeah, just to kind of reiterate what Rachel said, it's super important to get that. And the only way to get those kind of raving reviews is to have that kind of an experience. So for me, I always try to think about it, your first contact, have that in mind, right? As you're getting into the whole process, keep in mind what you really want is a raving fan by the end of this, because that's going to be, so much more valuable for you. That's an additional 10, 20, 30 referrals, who knows, right? So I always try to approach the whole process with like, we want to really kind of wow this customer, because then they're going to become an evangelist for our company and they're going to go out and tell our story for us. And that's just so much more powerful when it's coming from, an individual who had that experience and they're going out and telling everybody else. So yeah, it's huge. And then just the other part, like Rachel said, however you can get those reviews is awesome. In some cases, it's easy to have kind of an automated system because you don't really have to think about it too much. So in the case of some of the integrated systems that work with Job Nimbus, you can actually send out an invitation to fill out those reviews almost automatically through the system. So one more thing that's just an efficient way to kind of generate those kind of reviews, and something where you don't really have to think about it a whole lot other than just giving that great experience to the customer.
Yeah, I'll just add one thing. I was speaking with Chad Castrilli over at New Look Home Design, and it's actually for an upcoming podcast episode. But he had a really good thing that he does, and I won't steal the thunder for it when it comes out. But essentially, he asks that customer for the review while he's in the home at the point of sale, right? And almost as a if I can give you this price, then do this for me, and it has the customer leave a review right then and there. And it actually accomplishes another thing in that people sometimes in a retail market will understand this, but in like when you have the 3-day right of rescission in Maryland, it's even there's a 7-day if you're over a certain age. But during that period, there can be a person can have a buyer's remorse or decide to cancel. But it makes it that much stronger when that customer leaves a review at the sale. Makes it that much stronger for them to continue or carry on with that commitment. So just an interesting idea. Like I said, I won't steal his thunder. He certainly has a lot more to share on that, but thought it was something different that I hadn't thought. I think normally we think of getting reviews when the job's completed, but there's an opportunity to get a review even before then, right? Based on what their experience was like throughout the journey. So something to think about there.
Yeah.
Moving on here to one of our last slides. We've got about, I don't know, 14, 15 minutes left. So as we're talking here, please, I've seen some questions come in already, but continue to put those in, and we will have a Q&A time here at the end when we wrap this up. So get those in there, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. But want to kind of tie it all together here, and talk about software doesn't define processes, it supports it. And so getting systems in place to lighten the load, not letting communication hold up a job, and lead gen management. Rachel, I'll toss this to you to start us off.
Yeah, absolutely. The biggest thing is how you want to run your business, or maybe you don't, right? And you need some suggestions, okay? But the key thing is getting a software, especially when you're looking at like a back office solution like a Job Nimbus, a way that you can customize it to fit your needs, right? The customers in California, or the roofing companies in California, are not going to run the same business or the same plan as in Florida, right? Or as in Texas. So you need to be able to customize that workflow the way that you're going to want to run your business. So that's why it's so important. You are the one to set your process. The owner of the company, maybe the office manager, you guys are the ones that set that process, and find the technology that's out there that supports the process that you want to run. Right? Because there's a lot of options, and there's a lot that you can get out there to help you in that. So just make sure, do your homework, right? Maybe if you're an owner, don't take it upon yourself to be the person who researches all this. Maybe put your office manager in charge of it, right? And have her or him do some research for you and bring back to you maybe the top 2 people. You don't have the time to do that, right? You got a whole business that you need to run. So have them do some research, find those softwares that work in the process you want to do, and then implement those to just help expedite and build your business.
Yeah, absolutely. Monroe, anything to add?
Yeah, just to kind of just follow up on what Rachel said, I think that we understand, what some businesses maybe have the process totally dialed in. Maybe you guys, you've got a system that works for you. We don't want to come in and say, actually, you're going to have to change that to fit the way that our system works. So we want to make sure, look, if you've got it dialed in, great. Let us just kind of mirror that, right? Let us kind of create a process that will just work directly with how you've got your system set up. If you don't, or if you feel like there's some room for improvement, we've actually got coaches internally that will help you with that. So they'll say, hey, you know what? Here's kind of some best practices that we've seen. Here's how some other companies are doing it, and they're seeing a lot of success with it. Here's some suggestions, and you can either take those or not, right? But we've got people that can really kind of pull from a whole bunch of other companies that are having success, and let you know what's kind of working for them, and help you kind of put together a system that's going to, make it a little more efficient for you. So like Rachel said, super important to, if you're looking for a system, don't let the system dictate how you do things, but make sure that it is something that's flexible and customizable, that's going to fit how you want to do it, right? Because not every company does it the same, nor should they, right? So yeah, really that's a key, is just making sure that it's something that can be customized to really fit your flow, and just kind of like we're talking about here, support your process. But again, if you're newer into roofing and you're still figuring some stuff out, nothing's more helpful than tapping into others that have already done it, right? People who have done it successfully. And instead of having to go out and interview a whole bunch of other companies, talking to an individual that has done that for you and understands, what really is working for other companies, can be really powerful for you. So almost like having a little, junior coach that can help you really kind of, tailor things to fit your business.
Awesome. Really appreciate that. We've got some questions coming in, so if you have more, keep them coming. Wanted to quickly offer up 2 promotions here. If you're interested in learning more about Leap, lunch is on us. We're happy to have a conversation. We'll send you a gift card for lunch. No obligation there, but love to have that conversation with you, and maybe learn a little bit more about yourself and your business, and if Leap can help you out. And then Job Nimbus, Rachel and Monroe also have one here.
Yeah.
Sign up for Job Nimbus and get a free growth services assessment worth $500.
And you know what? I'm going to sweeten that deal a little bit. Okay. I'm going to email everyone after. So that gross services was exactly what Monroe was just talking about, where we have these professionals, we have these coaches. You know what? We'll give that to you for free. Do not, you know, we obviously we want you to sign up for Job Nimbus. But we will give you that assessment for free. Just raise your hand and we'll get you to talk to someone, especially where, you know, 90% of these guys here are wanting to grow their business with the amount of salespeople they have. I think that that could be a really beneficial thing for the people here.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's awesome. I'll give folks just another few more seconds here to answer this poll before I close it. Cool. Awesome. Thank you, everybody. And I do have a winner for AirPods, and it wasn't me, unfortunately. Let me look here. It is Richard Tooley. So Richard, congratulations. You won a brand new pair of Apple AirPods. You'll get an email from us after the webinar to get your shipping information. So congratulations on that. I'll keep trying. I keep thinking I'm coming close, but I don't win. Cool. So with that, we're going to open up for some Q&A. There were some questions in here, and again, if you have any other questions that you'd like to answer or have answered, type them in there. This Rachel Monroe, this one's I think for you guys, and you know I'll address it in a broader sense. You know they mentioned that they don't purchase from one of the distributors that you're integrated with, and you know you'll find this a lot with technology, right? Like yeah, I can take Leap for instance. We integrate with 7 different lenders, but that's not every lender that's out there. There are others. You know, we integrate with 3 different measurement providers, but there are more than 3 measurement providers. You know, so even though we do our best to integrate with, you know, the different technology or solutions or products or services that you sell, chances are it's not going to be perfect across the board. And so my recommendation would be, you know, take advantage of the integrations that do exist. You know, consider what your options are. If there's efficiencies to be gained by leveraging one of those solutions that are integrated with the technology that you're using, then awesome. And if not, then maybe it's not worth the lift of switching to an integrated solution. But you know, definitely take advantage of what's out there. There are a lot of great integrations, and even though you know, in your instance, if you don't buy from one of those distributors, they do have integrations with some that you might possibly buy from. And if you don't, then you know you haven't lost anything. You're still doing what you're doing today, and maybe it's even more efficient because you know you're able to have things digitally created to be able to email over or send over. But Rachel, Monroe, I'll let you guys answer that. It was more around a question of, you know, that they don't leverage one of the distributors that you use, and so you know, what can they do?
Yeah, yeah, we're integrated with Beacon, right? Everyone knows that. We don't have an integration with ABC. We don't have an integration with SRS, right? That's very familiar. That's not, you know, rocket science that I'm shedding light on, right, to you guys. Here's the thing. A lot of you guys will use multiple distributors, right? But if you are loyal to a distributor that we may not be integrated with, we have a ton of contractors already doing that. And we have the ability for you to upload templates within the system. So if you have your normal template that you would use with ABC, you can already upload that. You can add your ABC management team, or let's say SRS or someone, as a contact within your Job Nimbus. So then what you can do is between the templates and all of that you've already created, you can just automatically email that over to ABC or SRS or what other distribution that you might use. Now, it may not be as clean as, you know, an actual integrated system like Beacon, but it still resolves your problem of the information from the homeowner, right, and all of that type of stuff, just being able to email that over to them. So there's a lot of ways that we can still help you with that. Just give us a call. I mean, we have a ton of people who work on it every single day, so we can definitely help you figure out the best process if you are using a different distributor than Beacon.
Thanks, Rachel. I don't know, can't remember if it was you or Monroe. Somebody mentioned something about coaches, and John, how does one access the coaches you referred to?
That is that promo that we were sending you. So that's one of the coaches
Gotcha.
called our growth services team. Okay, so growth services, those are those coaches. So John, whenever you get our follow-up email, just raise your hand and say, yes, I want to be reached out to, and then I will get you to the right person.
Awesome, thanks. Guy wrote in about tracking KPIs. I think that's a question. Is JobNimbus able to help in that regard?
Yeah.
No, you're shaking your head, yes.
Yeah, one of the cool things within Job Nimbus is there's some dashboard reporting, right? So we've got the ability to take a look at the sales funnel, what's going on with projects, what's going on with accounts receivable. All those kind of things are actually rolled right up into reporting inside of Job Nimbus. So that becomes super powerful. I mean, there are systems out there for large businesses that cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to do those kind of things, create dashboards and KPI reporting and all that kind of stuff. And that's one of the pieces that we provide inside of Job Nimbus. So that becomes really powerful. Visibility into your business is huge too. When you can see what's either going really well or what's not, you have the ability to double down on the things that are going really well or to correct things that maybe are not going so well. But it's really important for you to actually have the visibility to see that those things are going on. Otherwise, you may not even be able to detect it, right? If there's kind of a hole in the process or an area where things just aren't going as well as you had hoped, having that dashboard information to really visualize what's going on is huge for specifically owners and management, right? Because you can really, at a glance, get a pretty good picture of what's going on in the business. So yeah, that's right there inside of Job Nimbus for you to take a look at.
Or create some friendly competition, right? We all know our sales guys are extremely competitive. So if they see they're only maybe a cell or two behind the leader, yeah, get some gloves on, right? Especially during a season, we want that as owners to continue to grow the business.
I love it. I love it. Well, Rachel, Monroe, I appreciate it. Rachel, there were quite a few as I was scrolling through all the Q&As, quite a few Go Pack Go. So I won't hold that against them or you, but I just want to make you aware of that. But anyways,
Next year.
yeah, there's always next year. But really appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate the interaction. There was a lot of good questions and feedback and comments, so that was great. Rachel, Monroe, thank you for helping us and joining us today. Always appreciate the support that you guys provide us and our customers, so thank you. And if anybody else is interested and didn't get a chance to raise your hand about learning more about Leap or Job Nimbus or both, you can take down our phone numbers or email address there and get in touch with us. But everybody, thank you very much. Rachel, Monroe, thanks again. And we'll see you all again next week. Bye.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
guys. Bye.